Yes, I would say this is a job where you need really to be true to yourself in order to communicate something to the audience. If you start putting layers and masks, it's really difficult that the message from your body and your emotions arrives directly to the audience. And that's also what can be scary, but very, very beautiful because it's a continuous learning and exploration and challenges and also your own vision of the world of a story. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. It's so great to meet you here on Zoom.
Nice to meet you too. It's really nice, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity with the interview. I'm very looking forward for it.
It's a great pleasure, and I'm so grateful to Sarai who told me about you.
Yes, she's a very dear friend of mine. We did a lot of projects together when she was here in Graz, and now she moved to Vienna. And it's just a joy to see her career blooming. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. So it's also for me always wonderful to hear when especially young artists collaborate together. So what were projects that you did together?
We did different projects. We did different experimentation with dance and piano. So she was improvising in the piano, and I danced to some of her pieces. And it was a very also intimate project because I could move around her on the piano and react
Oh,
to the music.
wow.
It was a really nice thing. And we did also a piece together called Symphonic Collection, where she composed the music and we were both in the video. I also directed the video and we edited together. And yes, it was our first, let's say, big video together and big project.
That's amazing. It sounds incredible. But for you as a dancer, is it easy to improvise?
Yes, for me, I think one thing that is really important is the connection with the person that I improvise to. And with her, we are really like brother and sister. So I could really feel connected to her on her points of view, on the way she thinks to things. And it was really a pleasure because you can see two different art forms that merge into one. I think that's pretty beautiful and also very touching because you see all the colors, all the shades of an expression. So I think it's really nice.
But as a dancer, you have a lot of um, work and a lot of physical pressure on you. How do you get this headspace to still create and do something? Because you must have done it on the side.
Yes, so actually, that's the thing that I would say triggers the creativity in me. I always search to merge dance with other art forms. When I grew up, especially when I was training, there was a lot of fragmentation. So, ballet dancer, contemporary dancer, musician, singer, it was very fragmented. And what I love is to bring different art forms together. So, also, it came from a spontaneous coffee, the idea to like merge dance and music. And from there, a new world has started. And I always try to search inspiration, not only from movements themselves, but from a story, from an idea, from a challenge, also from something that maybe triggers an emotion into someone or into a public that is viewing our work.
so you did the choreography of the piece then?
Yes, it was not really choreography. It was more like the idea from this piece was created for actually what Sarah had in mind. It was a cinematography, a cinematic piece of music for maybe a house of like a fashion industry, more towards that direction. So it was more static positions and looks in the camera. I added some movement, but it was more focusing on the presentation of the body and the music itself, because it was so powerful, the music, that I didn't want to add another layer. So yes.
Amazing. But you said this is something that you enjoy doing, that you enjoy collaborating with other artists. So
Yes.
what can you still see happening for this type of collaboration?
Yeah, so actually, I did together with my model agency here in Graz, Flair Talents. I did shortly after COVID my first big piece, and it was a wonderful occasion for me because I had a bunch of dancers and models, a cinematographer, artistic director. So it was a room full of artists, and we did a piece together called Star Walk, where I composed also the music for it. And it was really nice because you take energy from everyone in the room, and it's so beautiful to see different colors. Of course, there might be moments of tension because to merge different ideas, different points of view together, it's always a challenge, but it's amazing how, if you're open to embrace what the others give to you, you can create something that you would have never think of achieving. So yeah, it's
That's
something that I really
amazing.
enjoy.
Mhm. So you are, but tell me now about your dancing career. When did you
Yes.
start dancing?
So I started dancing when I was a child. I've always been attracted to music and dancing. In fact, when I was hearing music in my house in Italy, I was always jumping around the rooms when my parents
Really?
tried to calm me down. I started when I was 7 with dance, and I started in my local ballet school in Italy, a free harmony dance time directed by Lisa Stragapede. And I've been there until I was 13, 14. And then I switched to a bigger school in Castelfranco called Il Balletto, and directed by Susanna Plaino. And it was an amazing journey because it was, of course, the change of the body, the change
Oh, yeah.
towards something more serious. And from there on, um, very unexpectedly, I was doing a summer intensive in Italy, and the directors from Dance Academy in Zurich were there, and it was a Friday. And on the Monday, they said, "We want you in your school, in our schools. Please
Really?
come." And it
Wow.
happened. It happened all of a sudden. It was crazy for me. Also, I think from one side it was positive because I didn't have so much time to react and to
Yeah.
really be sad. And then I continued my journey in Zurich for 3 years, where I started studying at the dance academy there.
But that must have been so you did the normal transition from a local ballet school. Where did you grow up, and what city did you grow up in Italy?
So I grew up in a little town called San Pietringu, but I've always been to school and studied in Vicenza, which is the closer, bigger city to me.
Okay.
And my ballet school was in Castelfranco, so it's all in my region, which is Veneto. It's on the east side of Italy.
But it's, if you say small town, then it's also a sacrifice. Sometimes when you, as a child, you have to go to a bigger city, and you probably went to boarding school as well.
Yes, so when I was in Italy, luckily I had an angel for parents because they were really bringing me every day from school. I was leaving before my high school to go to the dance classes. I was doing 5 hours of school, then leave a little bit earlier, go in the car, eat in the car, and go driving 1 hour to Castelfranco with my mom to then dance from 2
Oh,
until
okay.
the night to 7, and then come back home.
Oh, wow. That's a big job
Sacrifice.
for parents to,
Yes.
yeah, to do that. But so from there you went to Zurich, and was that a big transition for you?
It was a huge transition also because I really enjoyed starting a school. It's something that I've really enjoyed, and I already prepared mentally to do the fourth and the fifth year of high school in Italy. And they said to me, "You're already 15." I was 15, turning 16 at the time. The train goes now. Either you jump on it, or it might be too late to start a dancing career. So I chose to throw myself in this crazy train, and I went to Zurich, and there the journey started.
Wow. And did you, I mean, what did your parents think of this?
So I'm also I'm only child, so my parents, especially my mom, was devastated. She
Can
did
imagine.
the whole journey back crying, but they really are. I don't know where I would be without them, because they always supported me from day one, and they always been
Amazing.
next to me in every step of my journey.
Mm. But
Yeah.
how wonderful. It's always so beautiful to hear stories like this where the opportunity came. So you didn't have to go and look for it or
Yes.
audition. It was just that it had to be. You had to go.
Yes, it came really as a surprise, because I didn't even realize at the time they were doing audition there. So I just took the occasion, and it was only possible also with the scholarship that they granted me, both the first year from the dance academy and then from my sponsor in Zurich, which is the Pierino Ambrosoli Foundation. It's a wonderful foundation directed by Daniela Ambrosoli, which supports young artists and dancers all over the world. And it was thanks to them that I could also pursue my dreams,
Okay.
because my father is the only one working in my family. Before, of course, I found a job as a professional dancer. So it was a huge sacrifice for the three of us to take this journey. And Zurich, Switzerland is very expensive as a city,
Oh
beautiful,
yeah.
but it's a very expensive country to live in. So yeah.
But it's good that you're mentioning about this aspect of it because it is true. There are not many families are fortunate enough to be able to pay these
Tuition.
expenses of dance and tuition fees, and they are quite high, the tuition fees. But there's always help. There's always a sponsor, or there's bursaries or things that. So young dancers have to know that the support is there.
Yes, and it was really nice the fact that actually the dance education in Switzerland is covered by the state, but of course I needed some support with the living there and the cost
Oh
of life
yeah.
there. But it's crazy. It's beautiful also that you have so many opportunities in Europe to expand and go and reach for your dreams. At the same time, I'm a little bit sad because I had to leave my country for it, and in Italy the dance scene is there, but compared to the rest of Europe, for example, Switzerland, Austria, Germany, and up from there, it's very limited, I would say. So that's why many Italian dancers are abroad and are searching to express themselves in a new city that welcomes them. And yeah.
But so you did a ballet training.
Yes, we did ballet training. We also had contemporary classes, improvisation classes, also pas de deux, strengthening classes, a little bit I would say, an academic education. And from there on, then through auditions, I arrived in Graz, where I am until now, and I've
Amazing.
been dancing professionally since 6 years now.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing. And you can and you have the opportunity now. What type of dancing do you do?
So the first 5 years I was here, I was in the company directed by Beate Follak, which is now she's the director in Toulouse, and she's an amazing person. And we were doing a lot of neoclassical pieces, also contemporary operettas, musicals. It's I think I would say my favorite part about being in Graz is that we have the opportunity to express every aspect and every color of yourself through different styles and genres. And from this year, we have the direction of Dirk Elvert, and we are switching more to a contemporary style, but we still keep the presence of musicals, of operettas. So that's something that I really, really love about it, that I have different ways to express myself, not only in one style, but in different ones.
It also, you develop as an artist when you do different things.
Yes, it's also sometimes it's a child. Sometimes you are more likely to enjoy, for example, musicals or things more. I would say that pleases a lot the audience. Sometimes we have pieces that are very challenging for the body and for the mind, or very topic in some pieces that are very strong. So you need also to really explore yourself, entering the character. So it's, I would say, it's a beautiful way to learn, and it's not always easy because, for example, the first year that I came, we did a very strong piece, Sandman from Andreas Heise, which is a fantastic choreographer, and the piece was taken from the book Sandman, and it's a very dark story. But I remember still when I did my first time the solo, trying in the rehearsal. I was learning the main part to as a understudy. I remember I did the solo, and then tears start falling off from my eyes. It was really the moment where I said, "Okay, this is why I am dancing. This is why I sacrifice so much for my dream."
Yeah, and how amazing that you could feel it so intensely, because that's then what you project to the audience.
Yes, I would say this is a job where you need really to be true to yourself in order to communicate something to the audience. If you start putting layers and masks, it's really difficult that the message from your body and your emotions arrives directly to the audience. And that's also what can be scary, but very, very beautiful, because it's a continuous learning and exploration and challenges, and also your own vision of the world of a story, because the story is one, but everyone interprets it in a different way and adds a different color to it.
And dancing is something where you use your body, and that's how you communicate, and that's how you express yourself. But do you find that then sometimes when it's a part that you have to do where it's not, where you don't totally get it, or where you don't maybe feel it that way, is it then for you difficult to express yourself?
Yes, I would say that's a very challenging moment. Also, this year, with this more contemporary approach, I had to relearn how to use my body, and it was less storytelling and more physicality. And sometimes it can be very challenging because not all bodies have the same physicality or the same reaction to a certain choreography. But I always try to still see a bit of Lorenzo in the movements and in what I want to express. So I try always to create a story in my mind, even if I don't, the piece itself doesn't need any story. I try to give a layer for me to really enter into this sphere, into this world.
But you talk about now trying to be authentic and Lorenzo yourself. But in a company setup, is that easy for you to do? Where a lot of things are being expected, almost, to be done in a certain way. Can you feel that you can still be this individual?
Yes, I would say in our companies we are 18 dancers plus, usually now it's two apprentices. And what I like about being a smaller company is that you really need the individuality of each person to shine on stage. And that's what I've always been attracted to. In bigger companies where it's more a classical repertoire, I would say you need a lot to merge into the group. And here you can really give the colors. And it's something that also my director and my ballet master really look for into me, that I keep on exploring the originality and don't be afraid to maybe push some ideas that sounds crazy, but actually turns out to be very powerful on stage.
And how do you look after your body? Because the body is basically your instrument.
Yes, so we train every day, 1 hour and 15 minutes. We do a classical training, a bar and a center with jumps. And then I try to, whenever I have free time, to implement some improvisation and to always research movements, because of course, when we are in a state of dancing, you always need to sparkle your creativity. So I always try to maybe use different body parts to guide a movement, or different characters, different stories, also different levels and spaces. And as well as that, of course, I will train. I usually train at the gym 2 or 3 times per week to maintain the stamina and use all the muscles that we are required, especially when we are very tired, that we have usually 4 or 5 shows a week of different productions. You need to rely, of course, on your brain and your physicality, but also to make sure that you have all the tools there to support you in a moment of distress, or maybe it's a different cast, a different adaptation. So yeah.
But now you have the summer to rest and to get all the muscles nurtured again. What do you usually do over the summer?
Yes, normally I try to go to the beach, swim, do a lot of stretching, still keep up with some ballet bars, but also enjoy the time with my family and with my friends and with my partner as well, and try to really to embrace more the human side and less the machine learning aspect of it. So really, also it's so important to rest. It's something that in world like ours now, where everything is crazy, is constantly in tension, I think a bit of rest is really necessary, also because then you allow yourself to think in a different way, and also to see different things that maybe when you're tired or when you're too much in a certain environment, you struggle to see.
Yeah, I think as dancers, you tend to just get on with it, and every day you just push through, and it is important to rest.
Yes, definitely. And also, resting doesn't only mean, okay, I sleep the whole day. One passion that I have is I started last summer studying photography. And from this year, I've been photographing also my colleagues in different productions and different settings. And it's beautiful because I always tend to think in a storytelling way that you can be the protagonist or the narrator of a story. So when you're the protagonist, you're in it and you see everything that is going on, but you live it yourself. When you have an optic from outside, you see so much more and you can learn so much. And something that I really enjoy is also to see other people dancing and other people moving through space, and try to understand what's going on in their vision, in their mind.
But for you as a dancer, I mean, it's amazing if you do photography, because you probably would look at, like you say, you look at dancers, but you also understand the art form. So it's for you, the angle that you take the picture, or what you're taking in what moment, is also important.
Yes, it's also, I try to capture emotions if I can, because I think that's the point of photography, at least in my vision, is that you look at something and you really feel, okay, these 2 dancers or this one dancer was in this particular moment, in this time and space. And this is such a powerful thing, that a still image has so much effect on us. It's when you, for example, go to a picture exhibition or to a museum, that you serve maybe a statue or a painting, and you create your own vision of it, and you capture beauty in a 2D paper. So
Yeah.
it's very special, and it's something that I also have been thinking as a I don't want to call it plan B, but of course, that's something that I wanted to do after my career ends, because dancers' career are beautiful, but are very short. And sometimes are also very difficult to deal with, because we have one body, and in comparison to a musician that you can change an instrument, our body is the instrument. So if you have different injuries, or it's a bit difficult to deal with it, also because it can happen in a fraction of a second, and your career can shift quite a lot.
Yeah, that's true. And it's sometimes you have to have that thought process in the back of your mind, because like you say, sometimes an injury can happen before you even considered retiring from the career.
Exactly. And also, I've been also advised from my older colleagues to already think about something that I want to do after, because it's really difficult when usually at 35, 40, a career ends and you feel, okay, how do I reinvent myself? And that's something that I want to explore while I dance, to really be sure to have a bit of more tranquility after my career ends.
And it's also in a creative field that you're going. So it's, something that can overlap with the dance career.
Yes, and actually, it's I think since I have the knowledge of how a body should move in space, and both the aspect of an athlete and an artist, I think I can merge them together to really capture something that can leave somebody. Also, I want to make people reflect with the pictures I take, and that's my goal towards the future. Of course, it's very baby steps right now, and a lot of trial and errors, but it's something that also, that's a way of learning. So
exactly, yeah. I think it's just I heard once somebody told me about the 20-hour rule. The 20-hour rule says that if you can develop a skill in 20 hours, everything you do after those 20 hours is going towards sort of establishing that art, or that craft, or whatever you're doing. So if every hour, every photo you take is something that you learn from, and I think it's that part of that development.
certainly. And you're a photographer as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think also it's a fantastic word, and it's really it lets you reflect so much on different situations, and it's really beautiful.
Yeah, and I think also for me the one thing that I find very special about photography is that if you are there and you took the picture, you are actually always have that memory in your mind when you look at the picture, and it's really only you who have that memory, because people who see it after you, they were not there at that specific moment. So that's sometimes, I think it's not always about the picture, but it's about that experience of taking the picture, that you had. So and you must feel that as well when you look at your pictures. You probably experience that as well.
Absolutely. It's always, whenever I press the shutter button, I always think like, okay, it's not only a click, it's really a whole experience. So yeah, and also it's so nice to see my colleagues' face or my friends, when they see the picture, that they are always like, wow, it's really an important moment, a wonderful moment, and you share also happiness. And
there's unfortunately also that side where somebody else looks at their face on the picture and they don't like their expression. And then there's nothing you can do about it. So it has its negatives as well.
Of course.
But I always think it's when it's your pictures, it's your pictures. It's how you see the world, or how you could capture that moment in time, and that's very special. But now I must ask you: is your mom? Your mom must be very proud now. But after all these years, does she come to Graz often to come and watch you?
Yes, since I was here, my parents came to every premiere I did, and it was
Really?
really special. They tried their best to support me in every way, and they are so proud to also just entering the opera is entering in a whole different reality, and
Yeah.
they are
Mm.
really happy about the pieces I did and the stories I told on stage. And but for me, the biggest present is to see them sitting in the audience. And it's funny because some people, some of my colleagues, when they know that the parents are watching, they don't want to see them, they don't want to do anything with
Really?
them. And I always try the opposite too. Like if I can have an eye moment with them or like direct a movement to them, I try to do that.
Oh, that's so beautiful. But that's
Yeah.
so wonderful. But it's also because they gave their time for you and they helped you so that you can also achieve your dream.
Yes.
Mm.
And of course, I think I would consider myself as a very positive person, but I had in 2018 a very difficult year. It was actually shortly before my graduation from Zurich. I almost lost my life. Unfortunately, I had
Oh,
an appendicitis, and it was not diagnosed in time. So my intestine broke, and they
oh,
don't know how I was alive. It was really a miracle that I was still alive. And I had two surgeries, one in Zurich and one in Vicenza. And they had really to do their best to save my life. They told my parents, don't hang on hopes because we don't know what's going to happen.
oh
They,
no.
yes, they also told me, we don't think you're going to ever dance again. Not in a bad, because they wanted to discourage me. It's just they never had somebody who, uh, at my age, with the type of work I do, survive this type of surgery. So it was very difficult. I have a huge, sorry for the noise. Um, I have a huge scar from here to here, and it was really a struggle to, start again. And it was crazy because it was the week before I did the audition in Graz and I signed the contract, and the week after, in March of 2018, this whole thing happened. And yeah, luckily I removed from my brain many difficult moments of it, but also I am so thankful that I'm here today, that I'm dancing. Was not easy because especially after my dismission from the hospital, they basically told me, good luck, try
Mm.
to do your best. They didn't know how to guide me. So here in Austria, I had an amazing team of doctors that we did exams on exams to really understand my case and guide me through it. And yes,
Oh, wonderful.
it
Mm.
completely changed my life, because when you're on a bed, lying down on a bed, and you cannot drink or eat, and you're just staring at the ceiling, your whole world changes. You appreciate just breathing, walking, dancing. For me was a miracle. Like, to know that I can dance again, it was really, sorry, it was really
I'm so,
important.
oh, I can just imagine. Yeah, because it's, you spend your whole life training and dedicating yourself to it, and then at that moment, if you think and with something like that it can be taken away from you.
Yes.
But how
Um,
brave of you to to just decide that you want to do it and you want to carry on.
Yes, it was really I would say the biggest victory I had in my life to be on stage again. And nobody except my parents and my friends thought that would be possible. And there were all the cards on the table, and I really needed to make my choice. And I had a wonderful meeting with one doctor that he said, you are young, you have a future in front of you, try. The worst that can happen is that you're gonna live a normal life, even if you don't dance again, but everything went for the best. And that's, I think, why I try always to be as positive as I can. I always
Yeah.
try to see, if there is half of the glass, I always see it half full rather than half empty.
Mhm. Yeah, but that just shows you what you've achieved and what you've been through, and that you could still see that positive side, and that your determination is just incredible.
Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
for me, I really don't want to waste any moment and try to really embrace every experience that comes in my life and be grateful for that, because I think we give so many things for granted, and it's in a world like ours, I think you need to appreciate every single small rock that you go through and every single small experience that comes through your life.
Mm-hmm. And it is true. And Lorenzo, thank you so much for sharing this story and being so open about it, because I think, sometimes people see artists on stage and they think their lives, everything is just perfect and everything just falls into place every day. And it doesn't, and these things make you the artist that you are. And it gives you that character and it gives you that special something that you then project from the stage.
Yes, and it's sometimes it's a bit hard because I always take all my emotions with me, which is sometimes when you only have a physical piece, it's can be a little bit of fight. But I think that's also who I am as a dancer, as an artist. So I just try to go with the waves and go with the flow and see where it brings me. But thank you also for listening to me. It was I'm happy I can talk about this thing now, because it was really hard. It was really a hard time. Not only the surgeries itself and how my body changed, also from seeing one day your body completely normal to having a scar which is 26 stitches long and you don't know what's going to happen after. It's a big change, but also it's a story to tell, and it's a story that made me stronger. And yeah, I don't know how I would have managed without my parents and my friends and the people who I love and who are around me. It was, I think, a really good victory and a good lesson also to apply in everything I do.
Yeah, because it's your body is your instrument, and so you have to. I mean, I can just assume if something happens to you, it's always you think, oh, but will I be able to dance? And it's that it's definitely always there. So it's not just the physical pain or the physical torment that you have to go through, but that psychological thing as well.
Yes, and yeah, it was really at the time I was 18. So of course I was, for me, my whole world was dance. And when you see everything collapsing, you're also scared and you feel lost and you don't know where to go or how to even go through such a situation. But then luckily every single thing turned out for the better. I could finish my exams here in Graz. Thanks to my directors, Oliver Matz and Steffi Scherzer, they sent me a commission from Switzerland to Graz that allowed me to have my diploma in dance. And also, I was so grateful. Also, my director, she was so proud of me because she really supported me, Beate, from the first moment. And she told me, you were made for dance, and we're going to take care of you from the first moment in the company until I am with you. That really we push you through, and I learned so much. Also to see also the reactions of my colleagues when I told them the stories, it was really beautiful because I had not only colleagues but also friends and a family.
Oh, you give me goosebumps now because it's so wonderful how people support each other. It's really a beautiful story. I mean, it's a sad story, but with a beautiful ending.
Thank you.
But Lorenzo, now you've definitely come a long way and through many things. But what are the wishes for you for the future?
For the future, I wish that, of course, I wish that I can dance on stage as long as my body, my mind allows me to. So I would hope to dance much more and to stay here in Graz because it's such a lovely city. It's not a big city, but you have everything. You have a merge of contemporary art and classical art, and it's beautiful. And I am always searching to learn as much as I can, not only in dance itself, but also in different aspects of life, in photography, in music, in the connection between arts. And I hope I never lose my determination to explore this field.
Mm. Well, a lot more to come for you, and a lot more positive things with your outlook.
Thank you so much, Petra, and thank you for talking to me. It's such a it's when I talk to you about these things, it's like I see almost a movie of all the things that happen in my life, and it's also to take strength from certain moments in your life. It's also what I do every day. I wake up and I think, okay, if I went through this, I can go through much more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And sometimes it's hard when something like that happens to you when you're young, because you think when you're young, you want to not have all these types of stresses. But on the other hand, when something like that happens to you when you're young, you have so much strength to still continue and do more things. It's almost as if that thing that happened gives you strength to carry on and to do other things as well. So it is a negative, but you've turned it into a positive.
Yes, and I think that's maybe my secret or my advice to give to anyone who's an artist. I would say try always to find yourself in the path of life, and always try to think that there are people and there are good people out there, people that supports you. It's not an easy career, it's not an easy word, but I think if it's something it's meant to happen and you really believe in it, it will find its way.
I had a similar type of conversation with an artist in South Africa last week. And we talked about also the fact that you don't always have control over what happens to you, and the moment you can let go and not grab onto these things so much, then you allow things to happen that in the end is so much better than what you thought it would be.
Yes. I remember talking to a colleague of mine this year that she also went through a difficult time, and she told me a very good sentence that stayed in my mind is, you don't always need to have everything under control, but you need the control of yourself to react to the different situations that happens to you. So it's not always having the whole plan, it's also embracing what comes and reacting. And that's also starts from believing in yourself, I would say, and knowing that there are people that stands behind you and that supports you. And that's also part of life. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but that's up to you how to live today.
And you've learned this now at a very young age, and there are still people who are 60 years old who still haven't learned it. So, that's one positive thing.
Yes,
to look at.
Yeah, it was. It was very intense experience, of course, but also it's beautiful when I share this with other people or new friends that because they can also somehow I can see really the sparkle in their eyes when they think, okay, I can do so much more than I can imagine.
Yeah. But this is wonderful and inspiring. Thank you so much, Lorenzo. This was so lovely to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Petra, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I hope maybe to see you one day in person in Vienna, or if you ever want to come in Graz to watch a show, you're always welcome. And
thank you so much. But please, let me know when you're here, then we can have a coffee.
Absolutely.
It would be lovely to meet you in person.
Thank you so much.